Last week in Tacoma, Norm Duke stepped up in the semifinals, the 10th frame, and made history. The 300 game for Norm Duke. Unbelievable.
All right, you're going to come back in. You got one more game.
That's right. One more game, Norm. In that game, Mike Devaney and Norm Duke would go strike for strike in a brilliant championship match, with Devaney holding off Duke to become a third first-time winner on tour this year. More history to come. Medford, Oregon, ESPN's continuing live coverage of the PBA Tour presents the 2003 PBA Medford Open. What was once a field of 142 bowlers is down to 5. Now let's meet those 5 finalists. From Seattle, Washington, he won his 7th career title at the season opening Green Bowl in Japan, currently 9th in the PBA World Rankings. Hugh Miller. He won his 10th career title at this season's Miller High Life Open and can go over the $1 million mark in his career by reaching the final today from Baltimore, Maryland, Danny Wiseman. From Shawnee, Kansas, near Kansas City, his 9 career titles include the 1998 Tournament of Champions. Making his first TV appearance in January of the year 2000, Bryan Goebel. He finished second at this season's Cambridge Credit Classic and has 4 career wins, including the 1994 PBA National Championship. From Woodstock, Illinois, Dave Traber. From Erie, Pennsylvania, making his 2nd straight TV show, he has 5 career titles and has earned the nickname Mr. 300, Bob Learn Jr. Those are the 5 finalists for the 2003 Medford Open. They run Randy Peterson. Let's look at the matchup, starting with our lone lefty, Hugh Miller, as the wild card.
Hugh Miller takes on Danny Wiseman in the wild card match. The winner of that match will then meet Bob Learn, but the first semifinal match, we have Bryan Goebel going against my roommate, Dave Traber.
Our entire PBA ESPN crew live with you from Medford, Oregon. 2nd straight year, the tour has made a stop at this beautiful new facility. 40-lane center. From the arena to the bowling center, and Miller leads us off the lefty. 7 pin.
I think the interesting note on this match that you want to look for is that the left-handers on 27 and 8 averaged 196, the lowest in the entire center. The righties averaged 226. Could be an advantage for the righties, a disadvantage for Hugh Miller.
Picks up his mark. 46-year-old from near Seattle, Washington. Able to win in Japan and also get to the TV show on Long Island. Danny Wiseman has not been to the show since winning in Chicago. He's had some frustrating moments, and he's made some adjustments and has a new look for our PBA fans who have not seen him. With a new hairdo, always flamboyant. Danny Wiseman. Oh, Messenger doesn't take out the 10.
Danny's kind of got that Charlie Sheen look from Major League going. Should have played the Wild Thing theme when Danny entered the building.
Just like Charlie Sheen in the movie. 10-pin lane 28. One of the 2 TV lanes here today in Medford. By the numbers this week, his strike percentage number is something that really stands out, Randy, almost exactly even.
Yeah, but you know, the spare conversion, obviously Danny a little bit higher. That gave him the higher average. Both still got here by virtue of what they did in match play. Hugh Miller was actually a lock after 2 matches because he went 7-0. And then eventually losing to Dave Traber last night.
More tape. Daggone it.
Danny struggling a little bit with feel right now. That's what he said, more tape. Gets this ball a little bit too far to the right. We have a lot of friction in the outside part of the lane.
Like that.
If you get it there too quick, it does exactly that.
Trying to pick up his mark. That coverage on lane 27. 35th TV appearance of his career and 3rd of the season. For Danny Wiseman, who's done very well on TV prior, 43-23 match record coming in. Today against the wild card entrant, Hugh Miller. 6-pin, doesn't get help from the scout.
And right away, you're seeing Hugh Miller using 2 different balls. He's using a much stronger ball on the right lane. The right lane is tighter, which means not as much friction on that lane. He's using a shinier ball and a ball that goes a little bit longer on the left lane.
So with the spare ball, picks up his mark. Medford, Oregon, home of the Medford Meteor. There he is, Marshall Holman with 22 career titles, and bowled Randy very well this week.
What a wonderful,
defeating Walter Ray Williams Jr.
What a wonderful week Marshall had, and I've bowled in front of the home crowd before, and what a special feeling that is. He just had a wonderful week.
On lane 27. Get some help.
You got the little messenger or the swish zone there. Again, you see Hugh Miller playing the extreme outside part. You know, the thing about this week was both the left and right side played fairly similar. Both the left-handers and right-handers playing the outside part of the lane. Just a quick shout out to my man Steve Wadlow, the PBA road technician. He's recovering from an illness, so Steve, hang in there, buddy. We miss you out here.
We sure do. Hope he returns soon. Looking for a first strike of the day. Wiseman's got it as he matches Miller's strike in the 3rd frame.
You know, Dave, you talked about it a little bit, some of the changes that Danny's gone through. He's kind of changed the starting position. He used to have that elbow resting on his hip. He's moved it back a little bit, and what that's done for him is it's increased the length of his push away, which delays his timing just a little bit.
Saw the numbers for the week, or Danny a moment ago. With ESPN in sync, we see him on lane 27 looking for a double. That came a little bit high in the 4-pin stands. He would have had a 9-pin lead with a strike there.
Now the other shot, the first shot he threw on the left lane went high. This ball gets into the same kind of zone, but the difference is his hand stayed underneath it, did not rotate around the side of the ball. So the change of direction down lane wasn't as violent.
Danny, a winner in Chicago. The fall swing of the PBA Tour, but then some struggles. 45th in Detroit. 9th at the Banquet Classic in Grand Rapids. And then up to 55th and 45th in Long Island and in Albany. So it's really been a roller coaster ride for Danny Wiseman this year. He's had a lot of success and some big struggles. Now it's Miller. For a double himself, 7-pin, he would have been able to take an 11-pin lead.
And right off the bat, Hugh Miller doing exactly what he wants to do, hitting the pocket. You know, we saw Norm Duke shoot 300 last week using 2 different balls, 1 on each lane. Hugh Miller doing the same thing. The only difference is he's not striking when his ball hits the pocket.
23rd career TV appearance for the left-hander Hugh Miller. A lone lefty of our 5-man TV show field here today in Oregon.
You know, he said he likes playing the outside line. That's where he played this week, his strong suit. But he's still able to play multiple angles. We've seen him on other telecasts playing a little farther towards the middle part of the lane. So he can do a little bit of everything.
Randy, why do you think only one lefty, Hugh, has won so far? Well, along with Cation Couch, of course, but not a lot of lefty success on tour this year. Wow. Messenger on the 7th.
Well, you know, I think the biggest thing is that this week we had a lot of left-handers in the finals. However, they ended up bowling each other, and only one can win. You can't get them all to the telecast. We had it actually going into last night. We had a chance to have 4 left-handers on the show. So this week, I think the conditions were a little more even than they've been all year long. The left side has been tough all year. Some of the guys have been figuring it out. Hugh Miller's been bowling well. Jason Couch's been bowling well.
Not what Danny Wiseman wanted on lane 28.
Missed that one.
Hugh Miller tells us he's been in a TV show with 4 other lefties. He's won. So he's had plenty of competition action against the Southpaws. Multi-pin numbers for Wiseman this week.
You know, right now what I'm seeing is Danny Wiseman struggling just to get the ball to face the 1-3 pocket the right way. And what happens is 30 minutes prior to air, all 5 guys practicing on the same pair. In match play, only 2 guys look out.
Open frame, couldn't get the double wood 2-8.
Hit that Traber
and
dry
8
spot.
Stands. Like I was saying, only 2 guys break down the pair. This ball, he gets it too far to the right, grabs that hook spot, overhooks and goes right by it, and he knows it.
We'll see how damaging the early open is. Just 1 strike for him. 3rd frame. Keep in mind, too, he's been battling back problems and a chronic toe injury. Telling us last night how painful that is. He's had some cortisone shots in the last couple of years. It's a bad arthritic issue with a right toe and his big toe there. Very painful, pushing off. And basically all day it bothers him.
Yeah, he's got the Shaquille O'Neal big toe. And on his right foot, when you go into when Danny Wiseman goes into the 4th step, he's going to push off of that to kind of get himself in set up for that good slide. And if you can't leverage off of that step, you have problems getting to the foul line the same way twice.
11 days time, Danny Wiseman will meet Shaquille O'Neal's doctor, have an appointment, and try to work out his toe problems. He'll take the mark there. However, you'll see how detrimental the open frame is for Danny Wiseman. It's the wild card match, getting things going at the 2003 Medford Open. We're in Southern Oregon for a 2nd straight year. More coming up. Will we have a repeat winner on the PBA Tour this week in Medford? Miller has won 2 times, 13 different events, 13 different winners. Hugh Miller, Danny Wiseman had a chance to win their 2nd of this tour season. Welcome back to Medford, Dave Ryan, Randy Pearson, our entire crew with you as our live coverage continues. The veterans, the older guys, 40 plus, making a splash this week in Oregon.
Yeah, the average age of our guys today is 40, exactly. And I think that just says a lot about the talent that we have. The older guys, they step it up week in and week out. We see Norm Duke last week shoot 300, even though the young lion, Mike Devaney, comes away with his 1st win. But the old guys, they still got a couple tricks up their sleeve.
Speaking of 300, we had 6 games, which is the 2nd highest of the year. Wichita was the best with 9. Pattern E for easy, or is it for excellence?
Enjoyment. Entertainment. Pattern E is simple. Friction to the outside part of the lane on both the right and left side. This week, the players that bowled well fired it from out. Traber, Learn. These guys are firing it. Even Bryan Goebel, who likes to go this way, was firing it from out. You see Hugh Miller, he's playing the outside line. 63% of the lefties cast this week. Fair for all.
And much more on the oil patterns, Randy. You can, as always, log on to PBA.com, the best bowling website out there. Live simulcast as well, leading up to the championship round. Chance here for a Miller double, 6th frame. If he strikes, he's up 24. Very close on the outside line to the channel. Gets a help there on the 4-pin.
It's all right.
Machine. As long as the rack doesn't hit that pin coming down, that pin's out of play. If any part, even if that pin's halfway down, the machine touches it, has to be respotted. Again, we talked about the friction being outside. It's true. And a lot of people would say, well, if you got friction, you can just throw it left or right, and you have that mistake here. The problem is, if you get it there too quick, it overhooks.
Miller first mark, and he's got it. .2 years, the average age. And for the season, 35 plus.
You imagine what that senior tour is going to look like in about 10 years? Man.
Pretty talented bowlers. On lane 27. And a solid 6.
6 pins and 7 pins.
Not a bad shot here. This ball just goes a little bit high, leaving a 6-pin. The guys hit the pocket a lot in practice. TV lights, cameras, matches starts, a lot different when the lights go on. Guys are just trying to fine tune.
Picks up his mark, entering the championship round. 9th on the points list. PBA Tour this year, so he's just barely on the outside looking in for that top 16 spot. And the World Championship, Taylor, Michigan, in March.
I bowled with Danny last week in Tacoma in the round of 64, and he didn't make it to the next round, neither did I, and he was working on his game during that 9-game block. Worked with Billy Hall during the break. Here he is today.
10 in the pit for Wiseman, who tries to get himself pumped up.
5-step approach, open. Look how his body's open, closes the door at the bottom of the swing, and the great knee bend and finish, and a great result. With a strike here, Danny can cut the deficit to 3 pins.
4 pin, 4 pin. More hand.
We'll watch it with ESPN in sync. Danny sent pictures of himself to his swing coach. Found out he was loading up too much at the start, and the ball came just off the proper line of delivery a little bit.
Come on now, go!
And all adjustments apparently working out well for Danny Wiseman.
And you heard what he said when he stepped up on the approach, 4 pin, 4 pin. Those last 2 shots were high. Looked like he moved in, gave the ball a little bit more angle. Perfect shot, 6 takes care of the 10.
So despite the back and toe problems for Danny Wiseman, he said it was last night, it's the best rhythm feel I've had and the best focus in some time. Miller has other ideas, the lefty on lane 28.
Things over hooking out there.
Wiseman bowled very well at the Tournament of Champions, where he had a chance to debut the new hairdo, new look.
Yeah.
Always interesting.
Look out.
Picks up his mark on lane 28. And that was the first major of the year that Wiseman and the rest of the PBA bowlers who made that field, including our Randy Peterson, competed. Coming up next Sunday here on ESPN, the next PBA event. It is a major, the ABC Masters from Reno. Action starts at 12:30 Eastern Time, 9:30 here on the West Coast. Remember to catch live PBA action every Sunday, 12:30 Eastern on ESPN, with the exception of the Las Vegas event. Comes up after Reno. We'll tell you about that later on. Another double wood for Miller coming from the left side.
You know, it's amazing that he was the only guy on that side of the lane, and his ball reaction just looks terrible right now. High, light, and he's really struggling with his ball reaction. It says nothing about how good Hugh is, how well he bowled this week. I mean, obviously, if your ball reaction looks like that, you don't make it to the TV finals.
Picks up his double wood. A 3-9 for Hugh Miller, who's really enjoyed coming back to the Great Northwest. Was very close to Seattle, Washington, and was able to stay at home for the Geico Earl Anthony Classic last week. 6.5-hour drive for him, though, from the Seattle area to here in Medford.
And this guy here, after the 5th frame open, looked like he was left for dead. He can take a 12-pin lead with a strike right here.
Looks for a triple 9th frame. Foundation time for Wiseman, but he can't get the 10.
Boy, and that's the one he wanted, too, because he knows that if he strikes there, gets the first hit in the 10th, he locks out Hugh Miller. The situation is simple. Danny Wiseman, with a spare here, if he strikes out in the 10th frame, can lock this up.
Picks up his 10th pin.
All right, 3 strikes in the 10th. Danny Wiseman shoots 204. The best Hugh Miller can do is 203.
After the 5 finalists were determined late last night, Danny walked into the press room and asked the PBA officials, who do I bowl? What's going on? Well, you're the wild card. That means 3 matches to win. He said, that's no problem for me. I like the challenge.
Well, I think Danny likes the airtime as well.
Always outspoken and always interesting, Danny Wiseman. In the pocket.
Now watch this ball. It's going to get out to the right side. There's the friction. Now here it comes. Look at it just stop as it goes right into the 1-3. The 8-pin, the last to fall. I'm looking at my ball, and he knows that was perfect. And, hey, 8-pin, don't even think about it.
Two strikes, he wraps it up. A wild card match against Miller.
Yeah! That's good. Thank you.
How about that break? Tripping the 2-8. And how many times have we seen that? These via pins, as lively as they are, great pin action. We saw Patrick Healy trip the 2 to win his first title. Danny Wiseman, 10 back. He advances. He's putting tape in the thumb hole.
Come on, make a good
He wants a
shot
good
here,
feel.
Jeez.
That ball didn't hook up quite as much as he wanted. That tells me he lost it a little bit at the bottom of the swing. Put a piece of tape in, get a nice secure grip.
Line 26. Wow, ringing 10.
Here's the deal. Hugh Miller can strike out in the 10th frame and tie. The only problem is Hugh has not struck on the right lane yet.
Can't hang on to it.
2 strikes in the match so far for Miller. Frames 3 and 5. There's the breakdown. No opens, though. Wiseman had that in the 5th. Still a big rally for Danny, striking 4 of the last 5 frames.
Here,
It kind of dipped in
Danny
to the
Wiseman.
pit.
Excuse me, Dave Ryan. Danny Wiseman's your winner.
And he is off to the semifinals. Started with 3 up. There's 1 down with Miller. 2 to go, says Danny Wiseman. And Hugh missed the 7-pin out of frustration. .203 to 181. Danny Wiseman is off to take on Bob Learn Jr. in the semifinals. Bryan Goebel, who almost left the PBA to an incredible story, had a great week. He takes on Randy's roommate next. What a week it was for Medford's own Marshall Holman. The Medford Meteor qualified 20th and took on the world's #1 ranked bowler Walter Ray Williams Jr. in the round of 32. The 22-time champion thrilled the crowd with a 3-2 win before losing eventually to Mike Edwards in the round of 16. Still a great week for Marshall Holman. Marshall joins us here in Medford. 110 career TV appearances, 3rd all-time. Walter Ray, of course, #1. But you're back with us on TV. It's good to see you again, Marshall. How about the week for you? How special was it to perform so well? You beat Walter Ray in front of the hometown fans.
Well, you know, I come into this tournament with the same mindset every year. I just don't want to embarrass myself. I made it through the first round of qualifying, so at least I get a check. And then to make it to match play is great. I draw Walter. I think, you know, right. That's my luck. My only match play in years. I draw Walter. I don't know how I got through it, but I was able to beat Walter Ray. Mike Edwards dispatched me early yesterday, but a wonderful week. Great to have the PBA here in Medford.
Marshall, I tell you what, you were my idol growing up, and I think the thing that I remember most about you was your antics on the lanes and how you celebrated. It was the best. We just loved watching that, and we got a great glimpse of it when you bowled Walter, and I just wanted to say, what a great week. Congratulations. Good for you. Way to go.
Well, appreciate it, Randy, and congrats back to you for your win a couple months ago.
Thanks.
You know, my emotions, they're free-flowing. When I throw the ball, I'm the last person that knows what the heck I'm going to do. So it just comes out of me, and I can't sit still sometimes.
It's fun to watch.
The Hall of Famer with us for this semifinal match. He'll join us in the booth here. We'll call the play-by-play. Randy's roommate, Dave Traber. against Bryan Goebel. An incredible comeback story for him. Bryan will lead things off from near Kansas City. Kansas almost left the tour. He was so frustrated after an event earlier this season.
Marshall, you're a little surprised that the average age of the guys on the show today is 40 years old?
Well, I'm very surprised, but I'll tell you, this 27 and 8, I bowled Mike Edwards on this pair yesterday, and I found it to be a little bit tricky, and it looks like the guys are having a little problem trying to match up and line up to the pair right now. But yeah, it was interesting. You know, so many of these people that have made it this far in the tournament are you know, like contemporaries of mine. I bowled many years with all of them.
One of the 40-plus crowd right here. Bryan Goebel at 41 years old, covers as he's back on TV. Last show, January 21st of 2000 at the Orleans Casino Open, where he finished 7th. Dave Traber, last time we saw him on TV, Marshall, what a moment that was in a 3-ball sudden death roll-off with Norm Duke. Dave lost it, but got a lot of momentum from his appearance there.
Traber throws it hard and straight, and here he goes.
Just busting it right into the pocket. 10 down in the pin for Traber. Does he throw it hard?
Oh, man, a little friction helps that messenger come across. Dave's strike percentage, the highest in the field. So he didn't have to shoot a lot of spares. That makes his spare conversion percentage go up, right, Marsh?
That helps a lot. I don't know what my strike percentage was, but it went down appreciably yesterday.
But yet a great run to get here, no question about that, beating Walter Ray. We're coming to you from Lava Lanes, the Medford Open. Dave, Ryan, Randy Peterson, our entire crew, and we're honored to be joined by Marshall Holman. The Medford Meteor is in the booth with us and on fire early as Traber.
Well, Marshall, you talked about how tricky 27 and 8 was. Dave kind of goes about things a little bit different than everybody else. Everybody else has a little bit more hand. Advantage, Dave Traber?
Well, it looks like it is early, and Dave basically takes the lane out of play and just, I mean, he powers the ball down the lane, really heaves the ball down the lane, and been so successful for many years doing it.
Here's Goebel, great week, the best match play record on the 5 finals. There's his first strike on TV in quite a while. 10-1 in match play, over a 234 average for Goebel to get here.
Well, Bryan playing a little bit further left than Dave Traber because he's got a little bit more hand. That ball, you can see that ball actually hooking a little bit more down the lane, a little bit more back in. And, you know, for a guy that hasn't been bowling all that well this year, well, he really struck a lot this week.
He looked very good. I bowled near Goebel for a good portion of the week, and he was just able to make consistent good shots, and he never did. I tried to chase the pattern in a little bit. He stayed near that gutter most of the week.
A double for Goebel as he strikes on lane 27. Bryan Goebel coming in 97th on the tour points list because there have been so many struggles for him this year. Danny Wiseman tops as the top 8 makes that round of 16, the World Championship in Taylor, Michigan. Hugh Miller not far behind. He's been dispatched, though, as the wild card today. What's on the line today? 25,000 points for the winner. 17-5. Third place. With the power, little double wood, 2-8 for Traber.
Well, 8 count, and Traber comes in light, throws it a little bit hard, as he said. And not only does he leave the 2-8 and not keep the strikes going, but it's a difficult spare. It's a spare that was missed in the previous game by Danny Wiseman.
Right, and you know the trick is you want to get the ball to hook into the 2-8 because you try to cover both pins with the ball, but again you get the ball to the right too quick, it overhooks, and not enough it does that.
Well, he does a good job covering it. And as we said, it's a very difficult 2-8 spare. You don't want to make a living shooting that one. We take a look at Dave Traber's fingers, and Randy, I wasn't. You look at how bloody they are. I wasn't even aware that he used his fingers when he threw the ball. He throws the ball so straight. Sorry, Dave.
Yeah, his thumb should look like that. Right?
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, say what you want about Dave Traber, but you know what? He does what he does, and he's very, very good at it. You could say that you can make the same statement about, say, Bryan Kretzer. Bryan Kretzer likes to play in and hook the lane. Dave's exactly the opposite.
Well, you know, you have to be who you are out here. You can't try and bowl a style just because Walter Ray's the best player. You can't try and bowl like Walter. You know, you've got to do whatever it takes to get the maximum out of your own game, and Traber does that. He doesn't apologize for anything, and he shouldn't.
Play your game.
While driving home from a tough appearance at Grand Rapids, Michigan, Bryan Goebel had determined he was going to leave the tour. He was going to hang it up. Nice look. Pin deck out, gets a good break, but great advice, recommendation from his wife to stay with it. And his 10-year-old daughter, Lauren, helped out in keeping Dad.
Boy, strong strike from Goebel, and a great reaction. And, you know, Goebel and I have something in common. He won his last tournament in 1998 at the Tournament of Champions, and that was the last time I made match play. Boy, that's a long time ago.
You made match play this week. Goebel, I think they're going to name a city after him in Arizona because he's won 3 times in Tucson.
Pocket and a 10-pin for him on lane 27. So, have you guys, either of you, been close at your heyday? Randy, same with you, to just hanging it up for a long, frustrating stretch where you weren't winning, weren't bowling consistently?
I came so close, I actually did it, Dave.
Yeah.
I have hung it up, all right?
Well, you know, I'll tell you, I took most of the 2001 off, bowled a couple tournaments the latter part of 2001 and bowled lousy. And I was kind of in the same boat Bryan Goebel was in. I spoke to, I talked to my wife, and Becky said, you know what, money's great out there now. Why don't you give it one last shot, see what you can do, dedicate yourself once again, and see what happens. And I started off bowling kind of lousy, and you know what, look what happened. I turned it around and caught a win. And
yeah, well, you know, it really takes so much dedication with today's game. It's changed so much, and that's what really threw me, even going back into the early 90s through the reactive phases. I never made the change. It was necessary. That's why I watch bowling right now, and guys like Dave Traber dominate.
4 of 5 frames, strikes for Dave Traber.
a little difference in styles here. Here's your roller, and here's your thrower. Watch this ball actually bounce a little bit. That's the loft that Dave's creating, and that loft keeps the ball from hooking. That and the amount of speed that Dave throws.
Strike here, a 9-pin lead for Dave Traber, looking for a triple in the 6th.
Now, low scoring in the first match, getting a few strikes now. That's got a hold. Oh, you could see it just looked to me to be left off his hand. Traber disgusted with the bad break, but I mean, it is a bad break, but this ball never was far enough right to begin with. It cuts right through, leaving the pocket 4-9 split. Not a very happy Dave Traber.
And when you're throwing it straight and hard, you have to have left.
Sure.
If your mistake room isn't left, you're pretty much done.
A split he can make. Slide the 4 into the 9.
However, misses both. So an open frame on lane 27 for Dave Traber. The Medford Meteor, Marshall Holman, will stay with us to continue a little play-by-play coverage. This first semifinal. Danny Wiseman has won already. He'll take on Bob Learn Jr. This semi, though, has Goebel and Traber head-to-head. From Medford, Oregon, more on the way. Back in 1986, Marshall Holman qualified as the tournament leader in the Firestone Tournament of Champions. He would beat Mark Baker to win his second TOC title in the process of go over $1 million in career earnings.
This is absolutely my best day right now. This is going over $1 million and doing it in style with the Firestone. I love it. I love it.
And here in Medford, Marshall Holman is with us. Lava Lanes in Medford, Oregon. The PBA Live coverage continuing here on ESPN. This week's Days In on the road. ABC Masters, the major, next week at 12:30 Eastern Time. Keep in mind a different start time, though, for the January 23rd Storm Las Vegas Classic, 4:30 Eastern. And then, of course, it's all leading up to the World Championship. Taylor Sportsplex Arena Bowling for the World Championship near Detroit. We have regional stops to talk about in Vegas, Illinois, and Anderson, South Carolina as well. This week's Days In on the road.
Was it really 1986? My gosh, that's it doesn't seem like that long ago. A couple of hairs ago, I suppose.
Pretty stylish, though. You look good.
Well, I felt good.
Back to Goebel.
Back when I won my first title, 1986. Whoa. That's a long time ago, Marsh. Goebel in the driver's seat. 17-pin lead. Oh!
Solid 8.
Where'd that come from?
Hey, you see how much further right he got that ball? That ball didn't overhook. It actually stopped right in front of the head pin. When you leave a solid 8, the bowling ball takes the 5-pin and chops it straight back.
Straight back. Exactly. The 5-pin should go into the 8-pin.
Yeah.
It doesn't. All you can do when you leave something like that is pick up your spare and try and throw the exact same shot the next time. Because Bryan Goebel, you made a great play.
Yeah.
Picks up his mark, lane 28, gets the 8-pin.
Well, you're right, Randy. He's getting a very smooth roll down the lane. You have to be kind of soft with the fingers. I learned that in the 9th and 10th frames in the match that I lost. It was a little late in the 3rd game. But you can't be too abrupt with the way you lift the ball in this pattern because it will overhook so quickly.
Real soft hand at the bottom, and it controls the change of direction down the lane.
That ball was left of target. Leaves just the 4-pin.
Drifting a little bit high on a 4-pin on lane 27 for Goebel, making his first TV appearance in some time.
Well, he gets the nice break of not leaving the 9-pin with that. And you think right now, Marshall, we're starting to see, you bowled on that pair, are we starting to see the left lane breaking down, or are the players just not making good shots on that lane?
Well, I think it could be a combination of both, but the transition does happen very quickly, and you've really got to be cognizant of what's happening with the lanes and then make the right adjustments. And, you know, really, Bryan Goebel had such a great opportunity to really put the hammer down on Dave Traber. He goes spare. Traber's still in the match.
On 6 and 7, back-to-back spares there for Goebel now. Traber, who really had opened the door wide after his open frame, given new life, and he takes advantage.
And he couldn't wait to get up there and make that shot. There's my good buddy Rick Donnelly, the manager, proprietor of Lava Lanes, who, by the way, Rick, people will be happy to know that Rick drills me on a weekly basis in our Thursday night scratch league. He is out averaging me significantly. So,
really?
Yeah, I'm back to the real world. I got to try and get Rick this week.
Well, I'll tell you what, I don't think we have a better stop on the PBA Tour. Certainly, probably the most beautiful center we bowl in. And Rick and his people, just what a phenomenal job they do here.
Whatever you ask of Rick, he gets it done somehow.
Yeah.
Speaking of getting it done,
somehow, for sure, is Dave Traber on 27. He finds the pocket again. 60 feet to success for him, and he's feeling a lot better about things.
Right now, 5-pin lead for Goebel. He's working on a spare going in the 8th frame.
Trying to come all the way back from the despair of wanting to leave the tour. Flirting with danger along
My gosh, you
channel.
know, I'm just surprised that ball didn't hook high.
Right, exactly. If you get it to that spot during the week, that ball goes through the nose.
He fed that ball so early to the right. Look at the ball teetering on almost there. It's on the 1 board. I mean, that ball, for me or you, Randy, we're looking at maybe a 5-count split. For Goebel, it's just the 10-pin.
If you got it that far right and it stayed on the lane, it was through the nose.
That's why he's bowling right now.
Right.
Here it's the Medford Open. From tennis to bowling. And Goebel on lane 27. Running high.
Another shot pulled for Bryan Goebel. Leaves a 3-6-10.
You know, the direction of the shot on the right lane, you saw it leak and go into the right. That ball never went to the right. That was just on a straight line.
It almost looked like it might have been a nervous shot.
Yeah. Well, you know what? It's understandable because, you know, Bryan hasn't been here in a while. He's had a low confidence issue going for a while, and you know, that's understandable, Marshall. You know as well as anybody. You haven't been there in a while. It's really tough.
Right, and that's the second time he's left the 3-6-10 on that lane. Left it in the first frame. Remember when he picked it up to the left. This time he did it the right way. He has a 1-pin lead. Traber's on strikes. Traber can he can shut the match out.
Yeah. It's a 1-pin match right now with Bryan Goebel shooting or going at a 213 pace, Dave Traber going at a 212 pace. A strike here. He takes a 9-pin lead.
The 7th strike of the match.
Whoa!
Can't get a break on the 10.
How about that messenger coming back and saying no, no, no?
And we've seen this shot a few times this week. Now watch the head pin go to the sidewall, and here it comes, and it goes in front.
But you know, from the bowler's perspective, it looks like it's going to be just a little bit in front. It misses the 10-pin by a mile.
That's a good point. When you're 60 feet away, it looks like it's just in front of it.
It looks like, God, I missed it by an inch.
Exactly.
Picks up his 10-pin. Trying to rebound from that disastrous 8 count on the 6th frame.
3 strikes in the 10th frame. Dave Traber shoots 221. Bryan Goebel would need a double in 9 to win.
Well, you like to see it coming down to the 10th frame. The guys have to perform in order to get it done. And Dave Traber, here he is. Really lofted that one out. And leaves a 2-pin. You know, sometimes Traber gets anxious. Doesn't take enough time before he throws the ball. It looked like he might have done that there.
He looked like he got a little quick, and he definitely was pretty firm with that shot. The ball never grabbed the lane.
But he's never been accused of throwing the ball too slow.
No.
Not an issue with Dave Traber. Pick up his 2-pin on lane 27. Does that for a mark. Really could have put the pressure on Goebel. That changes dramatically.
Yeah, and count's so important right now. Traber needs to strike. Make it 210. Make Goebel fill 18. It's, you know, sometimes the toughest thing to do in the 10th frame is get the spare. Sometimes if you're forced to strike, it makes you make a better shot. So we'll see.
That's a good one.
Messenger again, a second. Scout narrowly missing the 10-pin.
They bowled a pretty good game. He 4 9s in the 6. A couple of messengers down the stretch.
Yeah, really the only errant shot toward the end was the 2-pin that he left in the 10th frame.
Yeah. 17 pins, any kind of mark, spare on the first, spare in the first, and 7 on his fill shot be enough.
Traber finishing with a 209.
Best kind of mark is a strike.
5 straight spares here for Goebel. Can't get help with a 10 as well.
Okay, he's got to make the spare.
Hey, he's still in good shape. He makes his spare and fills 8, and he's going to go on. But boy, lots of nerves, lots of different scenarios.
Could not thank his wife Kelly enough, his daughter Lauren, for the amazing support. Trying to keep him on the tour, and he picks up the big 10-pin spare. Now needs 8 pins to advance.
And guys playing this far right, we've seen bowling balls go in the channel all week long.
Yeah.
That you also have to factor that in.
He's just got to just forget about everything and just think, make a good shot. I've got the good ball reaction. Wheel it out there. Trust my game. I can do this, and he should. And he did.
He does indeed. What a moment for Bryan Goebel. A strike. And he advances off to the finals over Dave Traber.
What a great shot, Marshall Holman.
I'll tell you, it came down to Bryan Goebel needing to make a great shot and a fill ball to win and to advance. And he stepped up and absolutely did it. Just fantastic.
The legendary Marshall Holman. Thanks so much for your time. We appreciate it.
Dave,
Great seeing you again.
Nice seeing you again. Randy.
Great seeing you, buddy.
All right.
Thanks for golf this week.
Thank you. Good luck to you.
Thank you.
All righty.
More coming up from Medford. Our final 5 here in Medford came in with 35 career titles and 3 majors. The winner from last year, the inaugural Medford Open champion, was Ricky Ward. He is the subject of this week's Miller High Life Get to Know Them.
Ricky Ward. I'm from North Fort Myers, Florida. I ended up bowling the junior program up until age of 16, 17, and then I went into the men's league, and I fared well in every aspect, and I just felt like you got to take the stepping stones to get to the next level. 300 at age of 15. That was probably the start of when I knew this sport and I was a marriage. The greatest moment on tour, I would say the Medford Open. I dodged so many bullets. I threw good shots when I needed to. My little baby Hannah, I really feel like she carried me through. Ended up winning the tournament. In the last shot, she was like my last thought. And that moment, that was very special to me. I come from South Florida, so we love our barbecue down there. I can't predict if I'm gonna win a match. I just try to prepare for it and let the cards fall where they may.
The Miller High Life Get to Know Them Ricky Ward. His last title came here last year in Medford, Oregon. Bob Learn Jr. in his second straight telecast. 1-0 head-to-head with Wiseman. Will hope for a higher average, though, in this match coming up. Trying to make the championship match at the 2003 Medford Open. We've got more on the way. Learn and Wiseman. Big part of the Medford, Oregon culture is the Medford Cruise in downtown Medford. 500 classic 1972 and older cars from June 13th through 15th this year if you're in the area. Get there. Someone who loves to work on a 96 Ford Mustang Cobra, Danny Wiseman with Randy Peterson.
Danny, you like cars, and you know, it's been a long drive since your last match play appearance in Philly. What kind of changes have you made in your game to get here?
I talked to my coach, Bill Hall, and I was setting up a little improper. And I'm now able to get my left hand on the ball to lead the push away. And this week, it just absolutely just worked out very well so far.
Kind of fell into place for you. Now, you're one win away from going over $1 million in career earnings. What would that mean to you?
$1 million? Really?
Over $1 million.
That's pretty cool, man.
That's a lot.
Millionaire, man. I'll be like you.
Well, no, I wish I would still be bowling as well as you, but you're the guy now. What would that mean to you, go over $1 million, Dan?
A lot of hard work and the time that I've spent in dedicating myself to this game, to this sport, has paid off. It's good.
Thanks, Danny. Good luck. Dave Bryan looking to become the first player to win twice this year.
Hard to believe, Randy, we have not had a repeat winner. Hugh Miller had the other chance, but he was knocked off by Danny Wiseman in the wild card match. Bob Learn Jr. has 5 career titles, but not this season. Second straight TV appearance for him. Good showing in Tacoma last week. In the pocket for Learn Jr. to start things off. Sore back, sore toe and all. Danny Wiseman, 35 years old, from Baltimore. Tying the PBA record, 77 and 80. We talked about without the repeat winners. Maybe Wiseman will change the history today. 10-pin.
Danny said he did a lot of things differently this week. Sometimes he went really straight and hard. Sometimes he hooked it, kind of played all over the lane. And this spare ball that Danny uses, he's had it for about 18 years. It's like the oldest spare ball on tour.
Takes care of the 10-pin on lane 28. Little shot celebration there from Danny.
Didn't know I was going to stick. Slipping all the time.
We saw that pretty low average that Learn Jr. had in his one head-to-head match with Wiseman, a 195. Danny just shot a 182. Some more numbers to throw at you. This week in Medford, the average fairly close. Strike percentage, nice advantage for Learn Jr. and spare conversion numbers also in favor of Bob. Back to Wiseman in the pocket.
Danny Wiseman barely made the first cut. He bowled a really bad last game. He snuck in. He said as the week went on, he just started feeling better and better. He's feeling it right now. Talk about a guy who's feeling it. Back-to-back shows for Bob Learn Jr.
Wiggling pin just won't fall for him on lane 28.
Yeah, 15-pound bowling ball, all that power and speed, and he leaves a 5-pin. But that's... Said something to Marshall about, hey, Marshall, how'd you like that one? This week he's playing the part of the lane he feels most comfortable with, Dave. Straight from out, straight and hard.
After the paralyzing 5 on lane 28, takes care of his mark.
Paralyzing 5. That's nice. Freeze!
We'll throw a few at you. Why not?
Oh, yeah, nice.
5 career titles for Bob Learn Jr. 36th coming in the PBA Tour list as he enters this TV show day after his fine appearance again here in Oregon. Also 36th on the money list. There's 21,000 earned so far. That number will go up today. Winging 10.
Well, early on, I would say that's not a real good thing to see when you paralyze the 5 and then you leave a weak 10. When there's that much friction right, you don't want to be seeing that. Week 10 is where that 6-pin just went to the gutter and just kind of laid there. Bob's got to get that ball to enter the pocket a little bit more sharp, a little bit more sharply. Get those pins to fall.
10-pin for him. His last victory came the Japan Cup over Ryan Schaefer in the finals, 176-172. That was in 2001. Mr. 300, Bob Learn Jr. We're coming here from Lava Lanes, Medford, Oregon. The PBA Tour coverage continuing live here on ESPN. Dave Ryan, Randy Peterson, our entire crew, Marshall Holman, the Medford Meteor and PBA legend joining us in the booth for a while during one semifinal match. The other is here, Wiseman, 7-pin.
You know, when that hit again, Marsh.
Everybody's talking to Marshall. You're seeing pin carry like this. What that's telling you is that the bowling ball is not entering the pocket on the proper angle.
Marshall next to the proprietor, Rick Donnelly. Takes care of his mark. Danny Wiseman, always flamboyant. Everything he does. 5th on the money list in the middle of the fall swing. He was one of the hottest bowlers out there, but stumbling a bit after his victory in Chicago. On the line today, $40,000 to the winner.
You know, I think what separates great champions and Hall of Famers from also-rans is the fact that, yes, he did start off red hot. Yes, he did win a tournament back-to-back shows. Nothing for a few weeks, but look, he's back again. Figured out what he needed to do, made the changes necessary, and here he is again. Danny's playing a little bit more of a hook than everybody else. He's further left on the lane, floating the ball a little bit further right. Bob Learn's going to be straight and hard again. His move should be moving further right and throwing it harder.
Perfect adjustment. Mr. 300 had a strike also in the first frame as Wiseman watches in this semifinal event. Goebel awaits the winner. ABC Masters, a major coming your way next weekend here on ESPN, 12:30 Eastern Time as the PBA Tour continues, our second major of the year. After Jason Couch made some history in Connecticut, the three-peat, first ever to do that in Uncasville, Connecticut in mid-December. That's all coming up here on ESPN. Pocket.
And a nice double for Bob Learn. If you're wondering why Bob made the last 2 telecasts, prior to that, doing nothing on the tour, Bob signed a new contract with a company. Prior to that, his focus was on doing whatever he had to do to earn a paycheck to take care of his family, Dave. I mean, he was talking about being a sales rep, doing other stuff. Now his focus is on winning, just like that in 2 weeks.
And that's why, in talking with Bob last night, he can relate so well to what Bryan Goebel has gone through.
Absolutely.
Hey, you're supporting a family. And as we watch Wiseman get everything going on lane 28, when you're out there supporting a family, Bob's got his wife Stacy back home in Erie, Pennsylvania, son Brandon, who's a chef in State College, PA, and daughter Brittany, 14 years old. It's a lot of responsibilities, you know very well, with your 2 young kids, Randy.
Danny Wiseman taking a re-rack for one of 2 reasons. Either the pins are off spot, he doesn't like the configuration, or he's buying himself some time. You're allowed 2 re-racks per game on the PBA Tour. After that, if the pins are set off spot, tough luck.
After Chicago, in Detroit, he was 45th. Grand Rapids tied for 9th. Also top 10 at the Pepsi Open. Randy's win this year in Philly.
Right before Danny starts his approach, he exhales.
There it is. Rhythm, focus.
Come on now. Come on.
But after that, some frustration for Danny Wiseman. 55th on the island, 45th in Albany. He has bounced back here, though, in Medford. The second half of the PBA Tour season in full swing against Bob Learn Jr. in his semifinal match. Bryan Goebel awaits the winner. A tour title on the line today. In the 1996 Ebonite Classic in Troy, Michigan, Marshall Holman at the age of 42 again, and in qualifying and match play as the turning leader. It was there he'd win his 22nd and last PBA Tour title in a great match over Wayne Webb. Marshall Holman, a champion in '96.
Well, you know, in my opinion, the best players, the greatest players over the years all had fast feet. Marshall Holman had fast feet, Mark Roth had fast feet, and my dexter approach Bob Learn has fast feet. A little different, a little unusual setup. Bob sets up with one hand. But you're going to see the fast feet. That helps him generate ball speed. There they go. Now, watch what Bob does. Top of the swing, he's got the cup wrist for power. Go ahead and roll. Look at the balance. Look at this slide. Here's a nice bend here. Ball is going to be released behind the foot. Go ahead and roll it. Beautiful balance. A little bit straighter up and down than most. He doesn't have to have a deep knee bend because he doesn't have to get that far down to the approach.
Bob Learn Jr. subject to this week's Dexter approach. Does have 2 strikes in the 4th and 5th. The strike here is down 1 pin. Wiseman, though, has a triple going in frames 4 through 6.
Last week, he stepped in water right before the telecast, had a bad feel. Oh.
You pig.
Okay. You can use that word on TV, Bob. That's okay. He said today, all he's looking for is a good feel. If he has a good feel, everything else will take care of itself.
Single pin numbers so far. Has missed a couple. Wants to up the percentage.
Now is not a time to miss that.
Absolutely not.
Thank you very little.
Thank you very little, Bob Learn says.
Bob telling us yesterday, Randy really enjoys the bowling center setting, not like the arena TV finals that we had last week in Tacoma. Lower ceilings, a little bit of a snug feel. Bob feels more comfortable.
Well, you know, you get in that arena setting. I mean, it's like playing basketball. Madison Square Garden versus the high school gym. You know, it's a lot different. And, you know, the other thing is, you've been bowling at a center all week long.
Good ones that strike.
You're acclimated to your surroundings. You're at the arena for maybe one day.
That's right. Leading up to the final 2 nights, everything else in the bowling center, arena finals. Like last week, average leaders. Walter Ray has been spectacular. Ran into Marshall Holman this week, though, and not see Walter Ray for a 7th time on TV this season. Just 1 win. A lot of parity. Maybe Wiseman is the repeat winner.
Missed out.
That could have been disastrous, only leaving the 2 pin. That could have been a 2-8-10 real easy. Bob Learn would have taken the lead sitting on the bench. Ball goes in light. Head pin goes behind everything else. Just leaving the 2 pin. Single pin spare. Although Danny's had some issues shooting spares today. A little approach trouble, sticking on 1 shot.
2 pin. Knocks it down.
Tell you what, say what you want about this guy, but there's one thing that's for sure. This guy can bowl. He can flat out bowl.
Danny Wiseman, self-proclaimed nonconformist. That's the best way to describe him.
Good call.
Definitely individualism.
Good call there, Rhino.
But he enjoys it and really thrives on it. 8th frame. 10 in the pit.
That was a good one. Do that on the other lane, man. Just like that on the other lane.
Just like that on the other lane is right. Watch Danny Wiseman hit his head. Watch how steady it is through the whole approach. Look at that. You could rest a plate of food on his head and not spill a bite.
That's balance. Quick approach here we talked about. Much different from Bob Learn Jr., subject to this week's Dexter approach.
Well, it's game on now. You know, Bob's hit the pocket every ball. He's trailing by 1. He's got a possible 248 if he strikes out 9th and 10th. Danny Wiseman can strike out for 249. Every match we've had today has gone down to the 10th frame.
Strike puts him up by 9. Looking for a triple. Bob Learn Jr.
Where's the love? Where's the love?
Not there.
Nice
Unfortunately
shot,
for Bob.
Well, Bob Learn had a little problem with this shot at the bottom of the swing. Watch what happens at the foul line. Looks like he almost slipped. You see how he pulled out of that? And that's a bad time for that to happen, Dave. Driver's seat for Wiseman. Best Bob Learn can shoot is 227.
Rack.
even if Danny doesn't strike in the 9th frame, as he takes his second re-rack, if he doesn't strike in the 9th frame, he can still shut out Bob Learn in the 10th with a mark in the 9th.
Danny's made sure the semifinalists taking on wild card players, as was the case today. Now a 14-13 record, 27th tournament since the new format was put in. Not an easy road for him, trying to win 3 for a title. And Bob Learn saw great opportunities slip away. Now it's up to Danny to close him out.
Yeah, baby,
there.
come on now. Good shot. One more like that.
Well, Danny just put a great touch on this shot. And you know, the pins always react when the ball comes off your hand really clean. Watch the 6 go to the wall and just saw the 10.
Yeah, baby, come on now. Good shot. One more.
Same shot like that on the left lane. Danny Wiseman is going to the title match against Bryan Goebel.
We know what he needs. 249 max for him. Wow, 10 pin.
Saw it coming.
Okay, 9 spare strike.
Saw
He
that
wins
coming.
by 1. 9 spare 9. Possibility of a tie.
Oh boy. We had the roll off. The championship match, Syosset, Long Island. Dave Traber, we saw today, lose in the semifinals. Drop that 3-ball roll off to Norm Duke. Incredibly dramatic, so it's possible.
Bob Learn just looking on saying, please just give me an opportunity in the 10th. All right, well, Tenny's a winner. Anything else? Tie or loss?
Danny Wiseman tells us he lives for moments like these. A strike to shut out Learn Jr. and get himself to the championship match. Does not use any motivational books, sports psychologist. Takes care of himself when it comes to focus for moments just like this one.
Yeah! All right.
You know, you watch guys like this week in and week out, Danny Wiseman, Brian Voss, Walter Ray Williams Jr., Norm Duke, you just know that they're going to get up and do this. Learn's already out of his seat. He knew that ball was going to be dead flush. As soon as you watch the player post that shot, he doesn't come out of it, he doesn't fall off the shot, you know it's in the 1-3.
Need a better haircut to carry, I guess.
Won't touch that one, Bob. You're on your own.
Didn't get the breaks he wanted on either of the TV pair in today's matchup. Danny Wiseman, that new look.
And really, the only one bad shot for Bob. But he's got to be real excited about what he's been doing the last 2 weeks.
Well, Randy asked him about it. Danny Wiseman clinches a berth into the finals and becomes another PBA millionaire. Intense semifinal match. He's going to take on Goebel. The big 4 up there for Learn, who's not happy with the lanes, but still a very good week for Bob Learn Jr. from Erie, Pennsylvania. Second straight show. 2 shows of the year. The first 2 for Learn Jr., but he's done here. The finals are next. It's Oregon's only national park, 33 miles around, almost 2,000 feet deep. Beautiful Crater Lake National Park. Spectacular camping and trails. Pristine water. No one can swim in that water to try to keep it in the great condition it's in. We saw it. ABC Masters Reno coming up next week here on ESPN, 12:30 Eastern Time. Second major of the year. Jason Couch took the first to TOC in Uncasville, Connecticut. Who will take number 2? Perhaps it's the lefty. Major championships. Also, Fountain Bowl in LA coming up at the end of this month. And the World Championship Arena bowling style in suburban Detroit. Welcome back, Dave Ryan, Randy Peterson, our entire crew. Great to see Marshall Holman here in Medford today. And also great to see Bryan Goebel getting himself all the way to the championship match. Someone who almost left the tour very recently is 1 step shy of another title.
Yeah, that's the feel-good story of the week, obviously. And, you know, the thing about Bryan Goebel is when he's gotten to TV, he's been very, very good. Well, let me give you a little stat. Danny Wiseman, his last 2 title matches, he shot 247 and lost and 277 and won. It's going to be pretty tough.
Going for another title. Second of the year. Geico Direct Championship recap. Randy, let's look at what's happening.
Okay. In our first wild card match, Danny Wiseman, 2 strikes and 9 in the 10th frame, defeating Hugh Miller. Getting that nice 2-8 trip. And in semifinal number 1, Bryan Goebel taking on my roomie, Dave Traber. That match also came down to the 10th frame. Bryan Goebel striking on his final ball to beat Dave by 3 pins. And in the match you just saw, Danny Wiseman defeating Bob Learn Jr. That match also going to the 10th, and that shot there locking it up for Danny Wiseman.
Our Geico Direct Championship recap here in Medford, the Red Hot Bowler. And the feel-good story of the week, as Randy said, has been Bryan Goebel from just outside Kansas City. 11 straight games, the best match play record for Goebel from the round of 32 on. Trying to stay hot and win one more against Danny Wiseman, who bids for his 2nd tour title of this season. Last year at the Lava Lanes here in Medford, we had a great title match between Ricky Ward and Ryan Schaefer, a match that came down to the last frame, with Ward needing a strike to win by 1. He'd nail it and make it the 6th PBA title of his career. Danny Wiseman trying to become the first 2-time winner on tour this year. Head-to-head with Bryan Goebel in the championship match. First of all, congratulations on the $1 million club. That's got to feel pretty good. You had some frustrating moments after your win in Chicago. Is this more gratifying to get back to the finals now?
You betcha. This is great. Great crowd. You know, I had a great achievement here, going over $1 million after 13 years out here, and you know, we got one more match to go at it and battle the kind of old timers with the urethane days coming into play here. You know, we used to bowl back in the early 90s, so you know, here we go.
Good luck with number 11 if you can get it. Thank you. Thanks so much. Now, Bryan, how frustrating was it the time you were away? You almost left the tour. Your wife, Kelly, supported you, and you're back again. How gratifying also to be this far, almost with a championship.
You know, I don't think I can explain. I don't think I can tell everybody just exactly what it feels like to be that frustrated, and now to feel like I'm throwing the ball really good again and wonder where has it been. But it feels good this week.
What are the nerves like right now on the verge of the championship match?
Believe it or not, pretty calm. You know, they're probably going to get pumping here in a minute, but I feel pretty good right now. I've bowled well all week. I've been relaxed all week, and I'm ready to go.
Bryan Goebel, Randy, looking for a 10th career title and perhaps that berth to the Hall of Fame.
Thanks, Dave. The new criteria to get into the Hall of Fame is a minimum of 10 career victories and or 2 major victories. You also have to have a 5-year hiatus. So, Bryan, you keep bowling this way, you're going to have to wait a while, pal. And we're set for a great title match. This gentleman right here knows how to bowl, knows how to win. His best year on tour ever, 1994, he made $175,000. And he's got a major championship to his credit, the Tournament of Champions, 1998.
Ten-pin for him. Good shot.
A little bit firmer speed, a little bit further right for Bryan Goebel than Danny Wiseman, and just the vicious ring and 10 there. But a nice opening shot. Moving left with a ball that doesn't hook, throwing it straight and hard. Or for Bryan, straight and soft. Nonetheless, it's still straight. Shortest distance between 2 points, a straight line. That's why the guys do it.
Now it's back to Wiseman. He needed to come through with a big strike late in his semifinal match against Bob Learn Jr., and he did that exactly. 10-pin as well.
Well, you have 10-pin, 10-pin. Bryan Goebel's 10-pin, Danny Wiseman's 10-pin. 2 different types. That's called the flat 10. 6-pin lays in the channel. Bryan Goebel's 6-pin went up and around it. Watch this, 6-pin right there, second from your right, and it just kind of dies there. Again, all controlled by entry angle into the pocket. The sharper that entry angle is, the more you're going to leave that ring in 10. The softer it is, weak 10. The trick is trying to get it to face up the 1-3 the right way every time, something I'm still trying to figure out.
It's a work in progress, right?
Always.
Constantly.
When you're me, always.
Second place to Bryan Voss in a tremendous match. Talk about drama. Bryan's lone tour win of the year in front of his sons in Tennessee. That comes in very high.
Yuck. And on any other pattern, this is the toughest spare to shoot on the PBA Tour. The 3-6-9-10, that ball just cuts right through the schnozola. Danny's going to get the ball to hook into the spare, and he has to throw the hook ball to cover the back pin, the 9 pin. The 6 will drive into the 10. That's the way you make this. Now, because there's drive boards to the right, he can use that as kind of a backboard, if you will, kind of a bank shot off of that. Normally on tour, that part of the lanes doesn't have a whole lot of friction. If you get it, when you're shooting this spare, you get it too far right, it hangs.
Saw the numbers struggling a bit, and there's the open.
Daggone it.
That ball just never grabbed the lane, and I'm kind of shocked as to why it didn't, because the ball's been grabbing there all week long.
Danny knows that can't hurt, but we've seen open frames earlier today here at Lava Lanes in Medford, and bowlers come back from them to get right back in the match. Goebel trying to take advantage. Second frame. Yeah!
All right. Boy, do you think the Goebel didn't see the green light special when Danny Wiseman opened in the second frame? Watch this game. What a beautiful game this guy has. Free backswing, beautiful balance at the foul line. If you can't post shots, you can't stay on balance. You can't repeat. You can't hit your target. You can't be accurate. Well, this guy's got it all. The only thing that he was lacking was some confidence.
It was a 13-hour drive, Randy, from Grand Rapids, Michigan, back to Shawnee, Kansas, near KC, where he decided, I'm just going to hang it up. There's no sense anymore. Went through all the possibilities. Now the possibilities have changed drastically for Bryan Goebel. His family talked him right back onto the tour and said, hey, money's not the issue. Your improvement and your happiness is the issue. Can you still do it? He believes.
Well, he's got to believe now, especially after the break that he just got there, tripping the 4-6-10 out late. Both guys going high on the left lane, something to watch for.
Off is open. Wiseman needs a rally. The messenger will not trip out the 10.
Again, the same hit that he had in the first frame. Ball's not getting there. He needs a ball change or an angle change, and he needs it now.
Too flat.
Exactly. Too flat into the pocket.
There.
First things first, cover the 10 pin.
He does that. Making his third TV appearance of the year.
Going for more tape. He's been fiddling with thumb holes. It looks like he's going to make a ball change now. Get that thumb hole just right. Danny uses an extremely tight thumb hole. Sometimes when you're bowling, your thumb has a tendency to shrink. That's why players put tape in the thumb hole. If you want more secure fit, you put it in the front part of the thumb. A little bit less, you put it in the back part of the thumb. Danny has, in fact, changed bowling balls.
And he uses it with ESPN in sync. 10 to the pit, lane 27 for Wiseman. So the adjustments pay off for Danny. Trying for a championship against Bryan Goebel, bidding for a title as well. We're in Medford, Oregon. More live coverage next.
Now, the Medford Open finals continue.
One more time with the Australian accent.
Crikey! Throw some on the barbie, would you? Bloke.
All starts tonight on ESPN2. For more, log on to ESPN.com. We've got it for you. Here, it's Goebel. Amazing story of the comeback. Ranked 97th on the tour list coming in to our TV show today.
Gotta go.
And he was hoping for help with a 10-pin there.
What a great shot he threw there coming out of commercial. Here you're going to see the ring its end. 6 pin, second pin from the right. Watch it go. Man.
This is 28th career TV appearance. Has not won, though, since 1998. Picks up his 10 pin. It was a TOC in Overland Park, Kansas, near his hometown of Shawnee, Kansas. We're coming to you from the Medford Open, Lava Lanes. Beautiful 40-lane facility. Dave Ryan, Randy Peterson, our attire. ESPN PBA crew. Steel Timber Sports series coming up next on ESPN when we're done with business. We're past the hour by a couple of moments. As soon as we finish up, that's where we're heading. Much drama still to unfold, though, at Medford.
Come on
high
now,
and a 4-pin.
Well, he got a great break the frame before last on that lane. He went high and struck, makes the adjustment. This time, just leaving the 4-pin, he's got to make a bigger move. He's got to move further left, move his feet and his target.
Last TV show, almost 3 years ago, Randy, to the day, January 21st of 2000 in Vegas. It's a long stretch not to be on TV.
Come on.
That takes incredible strength just to stay with it that long. You're not cashing regularly. You're spending so much money just supporting yourself. Doesn't have a roommate on the road.
Backs himself. Coming out of his pocket. You're not cashing. It gets spendy out here.
He said it was about $1,200 a week. That's the travel and everything else, all expenses. Wiseman with a big strike.
You think this guy's a good champion? Let me tell you, he's a great champion. This guy in the finals of a championship makes a ball change after 3 frames, excuse me, and goes flush, flush. He only trails by 3 pins with a strike in the 6th.
Looks for a triple. Watching it on ESPN in sync, down 13 pins.
Missed in.
10 again.
It's got to go right.
You heard him say he missed in. That's where the oil is. He said it's got to go right. That's where the dry part of the lane is. That's where the friction is. If he doesn't get it far enough to the right, it doesn't make the corner hard enough. You can see his disgust. He knows it.
Been perfect today. Single pin conversion numbers. Desperately needs to continue that. Had an open in the 2nd frame. Can't afford another.
Look out.
Did it. He misses the 10.
It's twice.
I said it earlier. He's been struggling shooting spares, approach issues, thumb problems, and there you have it.
Amazing to think you can step up against Learn Jr. in the 10th, hit that huge strike, and then can't get the single pin spare. And we just moments ago showed you the single pin conversion numbers. Have not been perfect this week. Yeah! Bryan Goebel takes advantage.
Well, if you're bowling Danny Wiseman in the title match and he opens in the 2nd frame, you go, all right, it's game on. When he opens again, you better get all over that.
It's 2 all week.
This has been Bryan's trouble lane, the left lane. Last 2 shots have drifted high.
Got a 26-pin lead. Up 36 with a strike. 7th frame. Yeah! Get some help.
Well, that's twice it's happened on that lane. That is a gigantic break. This ball's going to get out and watch the friction. This ball goes right through the nose. He trips the 4-7-10 out. Danny's not looking. Now he's looking. Then he sees that and he goes, oh, good. All right. Danny knows the score. It's strike time.
The legend Marshall Holman watching this great tournament and the finals. Goebel and Wiseman. No help again with a 10.
It just seems like, you know, this year's been the year of the guys that have gone through the droughts. Dave D'Entremont, Eugene McCune, some 360-plus tournaments without a win. I even got lucky and won a tournament. Norm Duke gets back in the Tournament of Champions. Today, maybe Goebel's day. Brian Voss.
Winning in Memphis for that incredible final. The flamboyant one, Danny Wiseman. Demonstrative as usual, as he emphatically shows us the 10-pin he missed earlier. 2002 Steel Timber Sports Series coming your way next on ESPN. A few minutes down the road. First, though, we've got to declare a champion. Live bowling coverage rolls on from Medford. Back to Wiseman. Back to a strike. So, Randy, how difficult is that when you have a devastating open the way Danny did in the sixth frame just to rally?
Well, it's really tough. I mean, now you're kind of trying to play defensive when there's no defense in our sport. You're hoping that Brian Goebel does something to let you back in the game.
You mentioned a long run, Eugene McCune, 300-plus events, 62 events for Goebel. Basically a hometown victory. He said last night to us the pressure was incredible because all family and friends wanted tickets. Everyone was rooting him on.
Yeah! Yeah!
Big strike for Goebel, getting closer to another championship. Wiseman knows what's happened with his open frames.
Don't be hooping it up too much right now because a strike in the ninth frame will pretty much seal up this victory. This ball gets in the swish zone. He's been putting the good touch on it. He's been getting some nice breaks, and that's what it takes to win out here. One strike here in the ninth frame, all he has to do is basically show up. He's a winner.
He has got a huge 46-pin lead. Strike here for a 56-pin advantage. Foundation frame looking for a four-bagger. Does he have it in him? You bet.
Yeah!
Way to go, Brian Goebel.
Yeah!
Getting it done when he needs to. What a great shot. Good for you, pal. He got up on the ninth frame, the lane that he's been going high on, and just made the best shot of the week when he needed to.
Wiseman responds. Strikes in the ninth.
The right move, just too many mistakes.
Well, it's nice to hear players like
have a chance.
being honest about when they do throw bad shots. Danny's asking for a mulligan.
He'd need a couple mulligans after the open of the third, too. Third and 7. Devastating frame for Danny Wiseman. He's a huge hole now.
He just didn't make good enough shots coming down the stretch when he needed to. He got the double in the fourth and fifth.
Always make your spares.
And that's a good statement.
This is what happens.
What an incredible story for Brian Goebel. A few weeks ago, near leaving the tour, he has returned with the support of his family. He has returned to the TV finals as Wiseman strikes again with a great finish. But his two open frames put him in an incredible hole. And now the emotions are going to start pouring from Goebel.
God, I wish I needed this to win.
Sorry, Dan, but there'll be another time for you, buddy. And one of the hardest things going for Brian Goebel, when I talked to him last night, is he said that he was a Tournament of Champions winner, 9 career victories, yet he wasn't bowling in a Tournament of Champions.
He said to us that was a very bitter pill to swallow, not to be included in the first major of the season in Uncasville, Connecticut at the Mohegan Sun. And now here in Medford, Oregon, just 5 for his 10th title.
No fooling around, straight and hard right down the middle of the lane. There you go, Brian.
Brian Goebel has done it! For the first time since 1998, a PBA champion again.
Wanted to join the ranks of 10.
Great ball.
Thank you.
Awesome ball.
Yes!
Qualifies now for the Hall of Fame criteria. 3 years since he made a TV show. 5 since he's won a championship. More than 60 events. Goebel on the verge of leaving the PBA Tour. Not only has returned, but also is a champion again. 14 different winners this year.
Yes! Yes!
An incredible run. Double digits could not be sweeter for Bryan Goebel. He wins in Medford.